Hi, Jesse. We've been having a discussion here for the rest of you who are now listening in. Um, just a little bit about the history of the schools in Gwinn and specifically how it relates to the buildings, the number of buildings they've had and where they were. And we kind of broke it down into four main areas, and that was when the schools first became here, or first came here rather. Um, Later on, when Gwinn developed, and then later on when K.I. Sawyer came into play, and then when K.I. Sawyer left. So we're going to talk first of all about the first step. Um, the school's education in Forsyth Township goes back to the beginning of Little Lake and Princeton, which were the first two settlements here. Little Lake came about in 1864 and Princeton in 1870. Little Lake came about because they built what became the Chicago Northwestern Railroad from Escanaba to the mines at Ishpeming and Negaunee during the Civil War. And Little Lake was what they called a wooding and watering station, basically a gas station, if you will, a refueling station for the steam locomotives of the day. There were also sawmills, and it was a portal for the farm country out to the east. And so it developed a population base there. With Princeton, of course, it was iron mining that developed in about 1870 and what that drew in terms of population. So eventually, as things got going, there were between 7 and 8, I'll speculate that there may have been one we're not totally certain about, one-room schoolhouses that were throughout the township as the township expanded. There were 3 in the Little Lake area, 2 for sure. One is the one I'm iffy on. One was in the village of Little Lake. Another one was supposedly just outside to the east. And a third one was out in the farm country, what they call the French settlement, out near the intersection of 456 and is it 545, I believe. There were also one-room schoolhouses in Princeton. There was a one-room schoolhouse out in the Finnish farm country out west of Princeton, out in Runaround. There was a one-room schoolhouse in Mashick down near Northland, which at that time Wells Township was part of Forsyth Township. And then eventually, even after Gwinn came into play, there was a one-room schoolhouse built in Austin. Well, that was a little bit before Gwinn, but as CCI came into play, let's put it that way. And then there was another one out at Sear location out by Rice Lake. So that was a total of 7 or 8, depending on how you look at it. And they were based within walking distance. That's why you had so many of them. And the other key thing about this is they were all K through 8. They were not, if you wanted to have a high school diploma, you would have had to have gone to Ishpeming or Negaunee or some other place and probably find a family to board with during that time in order to get your diploma. It stayed that way until, as I said, CCI came into play in 1900. And when they came here, they started doing more exploration to find out how far the ore bodies extended. And they decided that there was enough to make it worthwhile for them to expand. And they knew they were going to have more places for people to live. And so W.G. Mather, who was the head of CCI at that time, ordered that a town be built. And he had people design the town. And it was that design and the fact that they built it the way they did soon gained acclaim as being a model for other industrial company towns to follow. And that's how the moniker, the model town, came into play very early on. One of the key parts about the model town was that they built a large 2-story brick building with a fine pillared portico, and it was going to be a K through 12 school. And so for a number of years, that became the go-to building. The other buildings were still in play to a large extent until 1926 when busing came into play. The school district bought 2 buses at that time. And I suspect, this is speculation again on my part, but I suspect that that was the key reason why the other buildings began to close out and the high school building in Gwinn, the old, what we refer to as the old school, was the school then until later on in the 1950s. And actually beyond then, but the big change came in the 1950s. The only other building that went on to it at that point was in early 1950s. In early 1950s, they built a gymnasium adjacent to the old high school, and things stayed that way then until you get into the mid 1950s, when all of a sudden the Air Force decided they were going to build an Air Force base here, and that was cause for a whole lot of changes that we'll talk about in the next session.